I was the first person to complete the bar using Braille.
And the fact they've got a lift and a accessible changing room, that doesn't mean that the venue is accessible.
Good morning, everyone. How are we doing? All right. Thank you very much for coming to our panel discussion here today. My name is Jordan Jarrett-Bryan. I'm the Channel 4 News sports correspondent. My description, for those that can't see, I am a black man with dreadlocks, a shacket, I think they call it, navy blue, and some navy blue trousers, and some brown and black and white trainers. This discussion is going to be centered around the launch of something amazing. Now, do you guys think I look friendly? Do you trust me? Okay, so if you trust me, I need a favor. I need everyone to get their phones out right now, very quick. Get your phones out very quickly. We are launching a podcast called Jordan Jarrett-Bryan's The World's Coolest Disabled. Okay? It's a little bit arrogant, I accept that, but it's not all about me, I promise. Give us a follow on Insta, YouTube, and all other social platforms. You will love it. My two guests who are intro into the second feature on the first episode and episodes coming up. Jordan Jarrett-Bryan's The World's Coolest Disabled. I would love you to join our journey and join our podcast. We're going to have a chat about being cool, confident, and being disabled, because I believe that so many people with disabilities struggle with confidence. And I believe it's because they're told they're not cool, they're not great. And the people that I know who have disabilities have done some amazingly fantastic things. Now, as you might have gathered, I've got a big mouth and I'm very confident. So I can shout about my achievements, but I want to shout about theirs as well. So I've got two great guests with me today who are doing amazing things in their field. We're going to talk about what they do, things they've overcome to achieve what they've achieved, and how, what to them being cool means. I'm joined first of all by the fantastic Jessikah Inaba. And I've some love, Jessikah, please. And the amazing Tyler Saunders. Some love for Tyler as well, please. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys just briefly describe, first of all, yourselves, what you're wearing and how you look, but also your intro to what it is you do and the role that you play within your industry. You first, Jessikah, sorry.
Okay, great. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Jessikah. I am a barrister. I qualified as a barrister in 2022. I qualified as the first black blind barrister, and I was the first person to complete the bar using Braille. Thank you. Thank you. In terms of what I look like, I'm a black woman that's skipped a few years at the gym. What am I wearing?
You've got a black and white top on.
Yeah.
and some blue jeans. And look fantastic.
Thank you. And that's it from me, really.
Thank you. And Tyler.
Hi everyone. Oh, okay, that's loud. Hi, I'm Tyler. I am a black male with no hair, got a shiny bald head. I've got by choice. I have a ivory beige t-shirt, black jeans, and one shoe. I've got one leg. I am a fitness trainer, a personal trainer, now public speaker as well. And doing lots of things in the fitness space to try and make the fitness industry more accessible.
Guys, thank you very much for joining us here today. First of all, the podcast that we do is called The Coolest Disabled in the World. We'll get to confidence in just a second, but Jessikah, you first. What to you does coolness mean? Because that's defined, I guess, by each person. But for you, what does being cool mean, and how do you own your coolness?
So I'd say for me, being cool, or my definition of cool, is not allowing other people's interpretations of your identity and your ability to cloud what you actually are. So I own coolness by owning my identity, by being comfortable in my capabilities and proving the world wrong. So the world chooses to ascribe a title of disabled, and with that title comes a lot of connotations and stereotypes. And for me, being cool is being able to defeat those stereotypes and to dispel those notions that are attached to having a disability and what someone with a disability is able to do.
Love that, thank you. The same to you, Tyler. How do you own your coolness?
To me, coolness is having self-confidence, owning your space, being unapologetically you, not really caring about the opinions of others, kind of having a bit of a swagger about yourself as well, just, representing, being who you are, showing up and just being who you are.
I love that. And I'll stay with you, Tyler. In the adaptive fitness world that you are in, just talk a little bit about some of the barriers that as someone with one leg has had to overcome, but also more importantly for people watching this here, the confidence factor. What did you do to tap into your confidence to push through that and get to where you are now and what you're doing now?
Yeah, so the fitness industry, when I first qualified as a personal trainer, I had a lot of limiting beliefs in terms of, are people going to take me seriously, having disability, being in an industry that's very much driven by aesthetics and vanity and like how you look and how you perform. And I thought, potential clients, people I want to work with, they're not going to look at me in a kind of high regards. This guy's got one leg, what's he going to teach me about being stronger, running faster, having a great body kind of thing. And I used to think that I'd need to wear my prosthetic leg in order to be taken seriously as a fitness coach. Fortunately, that hasn't been the case. That's been very far removed from the truth. It was something that I kind of learned as I went along, kind of owning my own space, adapting exercise how I saw fit. And in doing that, a lot of people would see me, training multiple times a week. I'd be, lifting heavy, doing things with correct form. And they think, oh, if this guy's got one leg and he's clearly got a quote unquote limitation, if he can do it, then what's to say I can as well. And that ended up being my USP, essentially, the one-legged guy in the gym who's, doing some crazy stuff. And that kind of helped me, that built my confidence first and foremost. And then as that started to grow, I started to put myself out there a little bit more, signed up for different fitness events, got into kind of more functional fitness, started trying CrossFit. And there's a few people in the crowd who are part of my adaptive community. Hey, raise your hands if you're an adaptive athlete in here. Yeah, there's a few people here. And it's just one of those things that I've put myself in very challenging situations. And in that, I've learned a lot about myself and what my capabilities are. Because as a child, I'd literally spent my whole childhood, my early 20s thinking, I'm not good enough, I'm not cool enough, I can't run, I'm not going to be able to do that. And in doing a lot of these things, being in the industry, stepping out my comfort zone, I found that I am fully capable of doing what I set my mind to. And with me on my journey, people are seeing that too and realizing, yeah, I can do these things as well. So it's been an interesting 10 years in the industry, but hopefully we've got a lot more to do.
Love that. And same question to you, Jessikah. I mean, in the law world, what are some of the difficulties that you've had to overcome, and how did you tap into your confidence well to overcome that and push through to become the success that you currently are?
So, legally speaking, there's not a lot of, in fact, there's virtually no Braille textbooks or Braille materials. So when studying for my bachelor's, my master's and the bar, I had to improvise and create my own materials from scratch. So for example, I used to ask my lecturers to read out all the information on slides, and I would record my lectures and then go home and type each one out verbatim. And on top of that, I would ask my peers to send me any notes they took from preparatory reading tasks. And I'd combine those informations to create my own materials, my own study packs or revision packs in order for me to be able to sit and pass the exams. Beyond legal education, within the career itself, within the profession itself, it's been really challenging. I don't even know where to start. For example, a lot of evidence, as you can probably imagine, is visual evidence. and I am completely blind, so I have no sight at all. And something that I used to fear a lot, especially starting out as a barrister, is my clients not having faith in my abilities to be able to defend them. And that used to project on me as well. Sometimes I used to think, well, if I can't see the evidence, then how am I supposed to use the evidence to argue a case and then to win a case? As a barrister, we have some core duties that we have to follow. And one of the core duties is that we need to put our clients' best interests in first place. There was a certain point in my professional development where I used to think that, me being blind and not being able to access my clients' evidence, or some of my clients' evidence, video evidence and photographic evidence, kind of means that I'm not following that particular core duty. But I've been a qualified barrister for 3 years now, and I've never had an issue where a client hasn't put faith in my abilities to win a case, or I've never had an issue where the prosecuting barrister or the barrister on the other side has challenged my interpretation of the evidence based on my lack of sight. And I've never had a case where I've lost because I haven't been able to see the evidence. So I guess those fears are more internalized, but when you there's a quote actually that I really like from Will Smith, of all people, and he says that the best things in life are on the other side of fear, and that's something that really stuck to me, because once I was able to conquer those fears, I was able to act better professionally, and I was able to put my clients' best interests in first place, to be able to win cases for them.
I love that. Tyler, in your space, we're seeing that gyms and places where people get fit are being adapted and changing to, it be more inclusive. But are you seeing? Oh, you're giving me a face. You're not sure that's happening. So I was going to ask you.
We could talk about that.
Well, let's talk about it. Because I was going to ask you, are you seeing that extrapolated beyond gyms? So supermarkets, airports, train stations. Is society becoming more inclusive in terms of what we in this room need to do what we need and want to do?
You could probably ask the audience to be resounding no. In the fitness industry, there's definitely things improving. Things are kind of gradually taking shape. A lot of gyms and fitness brands, they're including disabled people in campaigns and advertising, which is cool. But then if the actual place of the gym itself isn't accessible, if there are machines everywhere which wheelchairs can't navigate, if seated attendees can't transfer to machines to use them, then is the place that's actually accessible? Yeah. And the fact they've got a lift and a accessible changing room, that doesn't mean that the venue is accessible. So there are lots of things that need to be done, lots of change that needs to be happening. But the fact is, I tell everyone that where there's a will, there's a way. If you want to get into the gym, if you want to improve your fitness, there's a way we can do it. And we might have to use, some free weight implements instead of using machines, or we might have to adapt certain movements. But that would be, the person is going there, let's say with a personal trainer that they trust. But if the person went by themselves to a gym, with that intention of wanting to get fitter and get healthier, and the first thing they're met by is like a super high reception desk and people looking over at them straight away, that's not a very nice experience. That's not something nice to deal with. And then you've got narrow doorways and stairs and no lift and no parking. Like, there's lots of things that the industry needs to work on in order to make it truly accessible. And then on the other side of that, there are glaring lack of fitness instructors and personal trainers who aren't qualified, or they feel they're not qualified enough to work with people with disabilities. And that's something I want to help change as well. Thankfully, over the last 5-10 years or so, there are more people that I know personally with disabilities who have gone and got their level 3 qualification, which is awesome. And that's going to help kind of raise the profile of disabled people in the fitness space. But also inspire and motivate people like us to get in the gym because they see people like us in there. But all in all, it still needs a lot of work. It's not where it should be right now, I feel.
I'll come to any questions in just a second. So any questions, get them ready and I'll come to you in a minute. Just want to ask finally yourself, Jessikah, a similar question. But what needs to change in the law industry, the legal space, to ensure that it's much more inclusive and accessible for people with all types of disabilities? Because like in every sector, we need people from all backgrounds within those sectors for it to be, for me, a thriving one. Sure. But where you work, the industry that you're in, what do you think needs to change so we see more of you to make sure that it's more representative of the people you represent?
In the law, we've come a long way, but we still have a very long way to go. For example, a lot of legal buildings, so courts and chambers and inns, they're all very, very, very old buildings. So I have clients who use wheelchairs and other clients that are sight impaired. And sometimes it's very difficult to navigate such old buildings. The doors are too narrow, or the buildings don't have a lift. So it would make it hard, for example, for someone in a wheelchair who's looking to become a lawyer. They would have restricted access to certain venues that they really need to access due to the structure and layout of the venue. So that's something that needs to be taken into consideration in a legal space. Something else I'd say as well is access to materials in an accessible format. Technology has come a long way since in the 3 years that I've been practicing, and there are now electronic devices that allow Braille to be transcribed and pictures to be described by AI and whatnot. But I do still feel that the legal space needs to make a bit more of an effort to ensure that things are formatted in a proper way in order for lawyers with a visual impairment to be able to access the information.
Thank you, Jessikah. I've got time for a few questions. Any questions from the audience? We've got a couple at the front here.
Wait, because this question's for Tyler, and he's got me on content.
You got my phone and you're asking me a question.
Yeah. So the question is, this is both in regards of me. This question would also apply for you as well. Okay. In this space, in regard of sports broadcasting, what and also sports in general, what steps would you say need to be made to make it more inclusive and accessible for disabilities?
Thank you. You go first.
You go present.
Go first. So that's why I was interested to hear from Tyler what he thought about accessibility in terms of the fitness space and gyms, because in media and where I work, I'm seeing steps being taken to ensure that it's more inclusive of people in chairs, people that are blind and other disabilities. Not fast enough. We need to see more. But I think the difference between now what I'm seeing from people in my space to what I was seeing maybe 2 or 3 years ago is I'm not just getting nods from bosses like, yeah, we've got to do more. They genuinely understand that if they can get more people like me in the door working for channels and broadcasts, they're going to get a better output. They're going to get a better product. And I think across business generally, if you make your business more inclusive, especially if you're selling to people, everyone, you want the people that work for you to represent everyone and understand everybody. So even if you don't care about diversity, they care about money. And they care about selling more and reaching more people. So for that metric alone, having a more diverse workforce in the sports broadcasting industry, you're probably more likely to watch a sports program if someone that looks like you is presenting it. And the editorial reflects your reality. So I'm seeing changes for sure. Not fast enough, but I'm seeing changes. I don't know what Tyler's experience. I know you're not a broadcaster per se, but in the sports world.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, I mentioned a little bit before about the industry needs more disabled people in it, first and foremost. I feel that the coaches and the personal trainers and the fitness instructors who are in the industry now could do with upskilling and doing a course on exercise and disability. Like a dream would be every gym has at least one disabled staff member in the gym. Again, just for representation, equality, accessibility, all those kind of things. And in terms of the venues as well, they need complete overhauls, making things again more accessible for people to take part and enter the facility and feel like they belong. In terms of sports, there are platforms like Everybody Moves. I don't know if everyone's heard of EBM, Everybody Moves. There are facilities out there that allow disabled people to get involved in recreational sport just for their own health and well-being. There's also, Paralympic pathway sports as well, but sometimes not everybody wants or has the aspiration to be a Paralympian. Yeah. And I think a lot with society's perceptions of disabled people in sports is if you mention that you do any sport, it's like, oh, did you go to the Paralympics or are you a Paralympian? It's like either nothing or you're, superhuman. Yeah. And there's a very big gap in between of just wanting to do sports for social reasons and doing sport for general fitness and even mental health as well. That's another big thing too. So there is a lot to be done. There are some things happening, like I said, but not fast enough also, like you said too.
I agree. Can I get one more question? You've got one more.
Oh, that's hard. You got to pick one person, man.
I'm being given the wrap it up signal. Got to be quick.
Hiya. I thought the quote about getting past fear was just like totally spot on. Like that stops me doing so much the fear of what will happen if I do that. So just a question of how did you get over your fear at a young age or again through your life as things change with your disability through your life?
Jessica, do you want to answer that one? We've probably got a minute.
Okay, cool. So it's definitely easier said than done, but I think the first step is acceptance. Once you've accepted your quote-unquote disability, that's when you can find a solution on how you're going to direct your life with your disability. Rather than allowing your disability to direct you, you're going to know how to direct your life with your disability. Once you've accepted your disability, it can allow you to identify the fears. Once you've identified the fears or the problem, that's when you can lay out basically different solutions or different steps to a solution for each problem. It's definitely easier said than done, and you're going to have to take it day by day. And some days you're going to have to take 2 steps back to take 1 step forward, if that makes sense. But it's definitely doable. Take it one at a time, and you'll get there.
I would just add to that very briefly as well. There's a massive effort attitude as well, because no one's going to believe in you more than you'll believe in yourself. So it's got to get to a point where you're like, I know that I'm good at this thing. I want to do X thing. Let me just go and do it. And also not being scared to fail. I think a lot of us, when we have something we want to do, we view it through the prism of I've got to win or I've got to do well. And sometimes you've got to fail a few times to be able to get to winning and get to be good at it. So don't be scared of failing. I've done plenty of things. I fail every day, but that's okay. Because I'm getting better bit by bit. So I think to kind of overcome the fear, it's just, you know what, let me just try a thing. Let me just do something. You know what I mean? Because if I don't do this, no one else around me is gonna do it for me. So, and that's easier said than done, I accept. But it's got to get to a point where you're like, I've just got to do it. And if I do it a little bit well, that's a win. I have got time, sorry, for one more question. There was a hand I saw over here, the gentleman in the middle. If we're brief, I think I can... Is there a microphone we can get to the gentleman? No. If you
shout.
project, we'll hear you. No. We're getting a mic to you. We're getting a mic to you.
Thank you. My question is, what would you say to any people with any kind of disability whose confidence and or coolness is met with disapproval or maybe even punishment, and those who might be maybe scared to embody those because of that?
Cool. Well, I think if we just all give a very quick one. So my one would be, your coolness is defined by you. So I can't tell you you're not cool. Well, I can, but it doesn't mean anything. You define what, and I started by asking the guys what coolness means to them. So your coolness is defined by what you find cool. Coolness might be, I'm keeping myself in shape. Coolness might be, I'm looking after my children. Coolness might be, I've got some cool trainers. It's defined by you. So no one else can tell you what is or what isn't cool. So when you hear the haters telling you that's not cool, don't even miss me with that, because it doesn't mean anything. Confidence is a bit harder because that takes internal work. That, as I mentioned, you've got to really find out what it is you're good at and just work on it, and not be scared to fail. So I think if the confidence is built by knowing you're good at something, to get good at something, you got to work at it. You got to push. You got to fall over. You got to mess up. You got to lose. And then the confidence comes by knowing, I know the process. Even if I'm not winning, I get the process, and eventually you will win in whatever metric you're judging it by. Just briefly, guys. Jessikah, do you want to go?
Sure.
Give that an answer?
In sociology, it said that people who are labelled normally internalize their labels until it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we need to do the opposite. We will be labelled, let's be real. People with a disability, any disability, you'll be labelled by different people who will try and set your abilities or determine your abilities based on what they think you can do. But if you don't internalize it and you try not to make it a self-fulfilling prophecy, tackle it day by day, then you can define your own coolness.
Finally, Tyler?
I've got nothing to add to that. These two nailed it, so that was it. That's it.
Thank you very much. Some love for my panel, please, guys. Some love. Just once again, for latecomers, this is the Coolest Disabled in the World live podcast. Go and check it out. We're across all socials. We're on YouTube. Give it a listen. Our first episode landed on Monday. Tyler was the first guest we had. We spoke about being a dad of 2 daughters as a disabled man. We spoke about dating and sex. We spoke about the fitness industry. It's a great listen, a great watch. Go check it out. Jessica's episode is coming out very soon as well. Follow us on all platforms, please. It's going to be a great 2 days. Check out every stall, every main stage, and have a lovely day. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.